Hi, welcome back to Ucanic. I'm Gabe, and for over 30 years I've been an ASE Master Certified Technician, and I want to share what I've learned with you. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about air suspension. You may have seen our other video on how an air suspension compressor works. We're going to go a little bit into the other components of the system here, items that we have on display here, show you how they work, and today we're going to concentrate on one specific component, the air block. The air block here, on most vehicles with an air suspension, you have this air block, which is basically an electronic control solenoid that directs air to the air springs that are mounted in the corners of the vehicle. Now, suspension air blocks have a lot of electronics inside, very small, but a lot of electronics internally that redirect the flow of air as the computer or module that controls the system determines is needed. The tubing that's used throughout the vehicle is nylon. It's flexible. It's thin wall, which means it can also puncture easily. It can get abrasions on it. It can leak. It can actually come out of the fittings. The fittings themselves are either plastic or metal, but they're just push connectors, and that's what locks them in place. Now, over time, you can get some debris in here, and it can cause a leak at the connection. Same at the solenoid itself, where the tube goes into the solenoid block, you can get a leak there as well. Over time, debris can get in there, seep past the seal, and it can cause that to leak. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this solenoid block and how this works, what happens when it goes bad, and what it takes to replace it. So the solenoid block is pretty simple, right? You have inputs and outputs. This one, that's a different color. This is our pump input. All of the pressure that comes from the pump comes into this one. It's even marked P for pump. All right. When the air comes out of the compressor, it goes right to this valve block. The module, the suspension control module, determines which corner of the vehicle needs air by a sensor that's on each corner, a ride height sensor. That ride height sensor reports back to the module and then tells the module, hey, I'm sitting a little lower than the other three corners, or the front's lower than the rear, or the rear's lower than the front, whatever the case is. That signal goes back to the module. The module then makes a determination based on its software programming, turns on the pump, and then lets the air flow from this pump terminal to the appropriate corner of the vehicle. There's a sixth port here marked SP Res, reservoir. Some vehicles will actually have a reservoir tank that will hold some air so that if it needs to make a fine adjustment, it can just let air in from that to the other port. So I'm going to pull one of these out. Now I'm going to pull out the front right. Not that it matters really, but the tube comes through this tube nut and goes in there. There's an O-ring seal here, which can fail. We talked about some debris getting in there. Corrosive. If you live in the salt belt, that can be corroded. Salt can get to it. Now, you can't see the solenoid in there, but internally here, there is a series of electric solenoids. And the solenoids just basically are electronic valves. When electricity is applied to them, they open up and they let air flow through it. So they can fail electrically, but very commonly what happens is you can get moisture. So we talked about in our air compressor video, we talked about moisture as a byproduct of compressed air. There is a desiccant filter on the air compressor, which is supposed to dry the air. However, if your air compressor ingests moisture or water through a puddle or whatever, or if the desiccant material just isn't doing its job anymore, that moisture can get pushed through to here and can actually corrode the tips of the solenoid and not allow it to seal. And what will happen is, if the seal on the solenoids isn't correct, when the system is at rest, it can actually leak back into the other port, and the pressure will actually be lost through the solenoid block, leaking into one of the other ports or back to the pump port. Again, one point of failure is moisture, and it's not uncommon. Electrical failures can happen with any electrical component. The connector, it's very important. These are a lot of times mounted under the vehicle in a very inconvenient location to get to, but that also makes them more susceptible to damage. If you have the connector itself exposed to any of the elements, there's a little weather seal there, a little O-ring seal on the connector that's supposed to keep that from happening. But over time, or from disconnecting the connector, if you have to service this at any point, move it out of the way to get to another component, that seal could be damaged, and that could allow moisture or other things to get into that connector and corrode these terminals. Now, electrical components, like I said, they can fail at any time, but the most common point of failure that I have found with these solenoid blocks is moisture intrusion. Typically, what you see is moisture gets past the compressor and gets into this valve block. It sits in there and it corrodes. Electrical failures happen, and it will not usually set a code because there aren't many sensors in here. This is just solenoids. The solenoids themselves are what's activated. There are no sensors in here to tell the computer what is going on. The computer just knows it's turning a solenoid on and off. And it knows that by the resistance in the circuit itself. When it sees the resistance change in that circuit, it knows that it's sending power to the correct solenoid, the solenoid itself. So if this solenoid block fails electrically, even electromechanically, where a solenoid activates electronically, current is being used by the solenoid, but the solenoid is either stuck or rusted in position, the computer is not going to know that. The computer just knows that it's sending power to it and it expects this to operate. You may get a code for compressor runtime if the solenoid itself is stuck open and it's pumping it up and it goes, and let's say it's just pumping up that reservoir because the reservoir valve is stuck open and it's not flowing to the others. Or if it's trying to raise the right front, but the right rear is stuck open due to corrosion, you might get a code for a sensor fault. Implausible data. It expects that right front to move, but the right rear is actually moving instead. It's going to get confused. It's going to set a code, and it's going to tell you that there's a problem. You can look with the Eucanic scan tool at live data and determine which sensor, which ride height sensor, is giving it the information that it doesn't expect. And then from there, we can determine that if it's a solenoid problem, if it's an airbag problem, if we have a leak somewhere in the system. These are all things we can do with a good quality scan tool like the Eucanic UCAN 2 Pro. Solenoid blocks themselves, they're not usually too difficult to replace, so they're a little bit inconvenient to get to on some cars, but the cost, like anything else, diagnosis is going to cost you typically about an hour of labor. Depending on where you are, it can be around $200 an hour. If you're getting this done at a shop, we're looking at an hour diagnosis. The valve block itself, depending on the model, this particular one from a Mercedes is about a $380 part. Labor to do this is about 2.5 hours. So we do some quick math there. We're looking at a probably close to $1,000 bill to replace this after diagnosis and tax. And we could probably save ourselves a little bit of money and some downtime on our vehicle by using the Eucanic UCAN 2 Pro to diagnose this and make the repair ourselves. We don't always have an electrical failure here. Like I said, moisture is an issue. But if you live in the Rust Belt and salt is a problem, and you're having an issue with your air suspension, pay close attention to these connections. All of these tube nuts have these O-rings on them. Now the O-rings themselves are seated inside of this plastic housing, but if these copper nuts get corroded, that O-ring is exposed. And once that O-ring is exposed, it's susceptible to the elements. So pay close attention to that, especially in the Rust Belt. We have other videos on air suspension. We're going to make some other videos as well with some more parts on them, help you diagnose your car. I hope this video helped you. We're Eucanic. You can do it. We can help.